Hello, I come to return to you with another video. This time on American stagnation. So, to most people who don't know, I'm gonna schizo ramble a little bit here. The Soviets, after around 65 to 89, really, or 85, I believe, Gorbachev said it, something like that. The Soviets entered the era of stagnation. There was no real innovation, and the country only just flatlined. Didn't really do much, didn't really innovate, didn't really gain much of anything, except some military hardware like the AK-74. They've barely gained anything. Menial increases that barely were registerable to the average Soviet citizen. And that's what I believe the American nation has entered. Except instead of increases, we're just going downwards a little bit. We're not going down terribly much. We're going down a little bit. But, it's bad. My point of reference is that the Soviets, peaked 50s, during the 50s and after World War II. The Soviets had rebuilt to a degree, but their military rivaled the US, and in some cases was even better. Early 60s, when we were still using the M14 and Shermans were still in relative use and the M60 was somewhat new, the Soviets had AKs. The Soviets had T-55s. I believe, they might have had a T-62. The Soviets were ahead of us. We beat them. Shit, you don't see me speaking Russian, eating fucking potatoes out of the fucking floor of my house. But what I should say is that America peaked in the 90s. Now, this may be a major overstatement, and I may be wrong here. Most likely am. I'm only, fucking high schooler, Can't fucking predict everything, but America in the 90s embodied something that I don't think that I haven't been able to find in any other nation so far. Other than when they entered their golden age. We were on top militarily. We were on top culturally. We had the best, pretty much everything. Yes, we didn't have free healthcare for the small chance of those British people who fucking comment, but we were culturally on top. We had the best music, we had the best athletes, we had the best actors. Yeah. We had the best movies. We had the best everything. 9/11 came around, spiked American nationalism. Not that bad. Iraq destroyed that American nationalism. We could have won Afghanistan. We could have never won Iraq. We're still in Iraq. We should have pulled out in 2011, abandoned the military bases. We're just leaving them there so that Dick Cheney's rolling around in his fucking grave, boiling over laughing at the fact that his Halliburton stocks keep going up. There's no point for us to be in Iraq. There was never a point. Only warmongers and money. Saddam was a regional power player. That's why George H.W. never went in. That's why he never won, I believe, a second term. It's because, everyone thought he was a sissy. Everyone thought he couldn't fucking fight. Well, in reality, no. He was smart. He knew that if he disrupted the power chain there, say, go in and kill Saddam, like we're trying to do now with Iran, a bunch of tiny people kept in check by Saddam splinter out. You see it a lot with the death of cartel leaders. Usually there's no solid secondary leader. Usually it's either his son, who, oh, I'm not ready to lead yet. I'm not smart enough. I just need a little bit more. I need a few more years. Whoops, American presence has helped the, Mexican government find these cartel leaders because they supplied a little bit too much uh, fentanyl to the U.S. They overmet their monthly quota, you know, that the DEA wants. Um, but so the fucking Don Levitt, I believe, is one of the GOP running candidates. I saw recently of one of the more recent GOP debates that instead of just striking random warehouses in Iraq with like a fucking missile and destroying them, that we should go into Iran in and of itself. No. No, we fucking shouldn't. Yes, Iran's a major heel to us, and I have a good reason why, or I have a good understanding of why they want nuclear missiles. But why the fuck should we destabilize even more of the Middle East? This will only come back to bite us in the ass. The idea of us going back into Afghanistan, no. We won't go back into Afghanistan. We'll go into another Middle Eastern country. Most likely Iran, because more warmongers want money, and they want power, and they want to destabilize the Middle East. They know that if you chop off the head of the ruling guy, splinter factions. But that will only come back to bite us in the ass. They know this damn well better than anyone. Or they should, at least. Just look at 9/11. Or just look at look at Iraq. We spawned ISIS. We spawned many terror groups. A lot of them, yes, they're funded by the Pakis, but tough. This is what fucking happens when you chop off the head of a ruling guy. Everyone splinters out. Now, stepping away from that, going into the 2010s, yes, technology advanced. This is true. But and culture did advance, changed. But it's more recently that I've started to see it. The 90s most likely would have continued into probably somewhere around the mid-2000s when we entered a little bit of stagnation. If Iraq didn't happen, we would have entered a decent era. Maybe went on. But due to Iraq basically curb stomping that American goodwill and American nationalism, after Iraq, we went into this recovery phase. Not bad. Culture advanced. It moved slow. The remnants of the 90s. Carried out through most of the 2000s. I'd say it was sometime around 2021 where we entered the period of stagnation. We didn't do much. Nothing new, no new technologies are really game-breaking. Well, yes, Apple is working on some stuff and VR has become much more readily available. This is true. But it's nothing new. There's no new culture. I mean, yes, technically there is, but it's just fucking bland. There's nothing to it. There was this French art style before the revolution, like right before it. It had no meaning to it. It just looked nice. We're here, it's just decadency. Yes, I am most likely too young and not really knowing what I'm talking about, but hopefully I have a point in what I'm saying. Hopefully I'm correct. If I'm not, then it is what it is. But I don't want to end up like the Soviets. I've seen what happened after the Soviets fell. It was horrid. I watched the power vacuum happen. No, I didn't. I've seen what happens when you leave a power vacuum open, though. Horrible things. Horrible. Just look at the time period between when the Russian Empire fell and the Soviets rose. Then look at the wars right after the Soviets fell. Anywhere and fucking everywhere. From the Moldovan plains to the Tajik mountains, there was war. Some wars still carry on. Azerbaijan, Armenia, Chechnya. But a lot of that's subsided as Russia's become the main powerhouse player. But as Russia's starting to crumble a little bit, the possibility for a power vacuum to stay warm if the Russians fail, it's going to be horrid. And from a lot of people I've seen who are advocating for a civil war, if there is a civil war, it'll be like the one in Iraq. It will not be like the American Civil War. It will be more sectarian violence. You're walking out of a Denny's and you get sniped. Or one of your family members disappears, beaten and bruised, hands swollen, because there's wire wrapped around their wrists. Their knees are missing. Type shit. Ain't gonna be pretty. War and sectarian violence is never pretty. But it is what it is. America's entered the stagnation period. If we do go to war, it will not be good. It'll sort of be like the Soviets with Afghanistan. Where, yes, we left Afghanistan and, every empire that goes into Afghanistan falls. That was only true for the Sovs. Well, yes, the British Empire fell. It happened in 1999. The Soviets had much more pressing issues. They entered the war during their stagnation period. If we enter a war during our stagnation period, we'll fail as well. The corridor of war that we will most likely open within the Middle East will never be good. It will not be good for us, will not be good for anyone. But that's enough of my ramblings. God willing, my nation will be on top. Again. Most likely won't. But God willing, hopefully we'll get better. I hope you enjoyed this little fucking schizo ramble I've done. Please, have a good day.